News starts now on KRTV, Montana's news station.
An up-close view of history.
Montana's top leaders bring a Western flair to the 57th presidential inauguration. Thanks for making us part of your Monday. We'll have more from today's events in D.C. in a moment.
First, updating a story we reported last night. Officials have identified the victim of a rollover accident east of Great Falls. The Cascade County coroner says Virginia Antonich died after drifting into the wrong lane and overcorrecting on a gravel road, rolling the vehicle. The 22-year-old Belt woman was ejected. Troopers with Montana Highway Patrol say neither Antonich nor her passenger were wearing a seatbelt. Officials believe the accident happened just after midnight Sunday morning. It was not reported until after 10:30 a.m. on Sunday. Antonich's passenger suffered from hypothermia.
Montana lawmakers are tackling a controversial bill relating to homosexuality. Under Montana law, deviant sexual conduct is defined as sexual intercourse between two persons of the same sex or having sex with animals. Senator Tom Facey of Missoula wants to strike the language which criminalizes homosexual intercourse.
Words do matter, and those few and simple words in the Montana Code inculcating your gay and lesbian friends, neighbors, family members, and colleagues with those who molest animals do matter. They matter to us.
The U.S. Supreme Court and the Montana Supreme Court have already ruled this portion of the statute unconstitutional, but social conservatives have historically blocked legislative attempts to clean up the law.
The statute's under attack is one of the oldest criminal statutes in Montana law, deeply rooted in the values and societal attitudes of the citizens of the state.
Opponents to the bill say the law needs to stay on the books so the state can prosecute people who rape children. However, the Montana County Attorneys Association supports removing the language because they say there are other laws which prosecute rape. Last session, the Senate passed the bill, but it later died in the House Judiciary Committee. Lawmakers have yet to vote on it this session.
Members of the Montana State Council of Professional Firefighters are now fighting for their own health care. Montana is one of only 3 states without insurance protection for firefighters who get a disease from occupational hazards. The council is asking lawmakers to reinstate workers' compensation provisions which were stripped in 1987.
Fires aren't what they used to be 15, 20 years ago. We have a lot more plastics and petroleum chemicals, and those are causing some weird cancers that have only been identified in minute instances, but they're popping up in firefighters.
They hope to introduce a firefighter's presumptive disease coverage bill this session. It would place the burden of proof on the employer to claim that the cancer or disease was not caused by the hazardous line of work.
We've got quite the difference in temperatures this afternoon.
Mike joins us now with a breakdown of the numbers.
Katie and Tim, look at these numbers right now. We're at 42 in Great Falls, but you move over to Malmstrom and we're only at 27 degrees. It's the very lowest of elevations here out in central Montana that are dealing with some very cold air. It's 24 in Fort Benton right now. It's 9 in Malta, and Glasgow only sitting at 5 degrees. I'll show you the boundary that's responsible for this big spread in temperatures, and I'll show you when we'll warm up coming up in Storm Tracker weather.
Thanks, Mike. President Obama was officially sworn in for his second term yesterday, but the public festivities were pushed back to today.
From the governor to our congressional delegates, Montana made its presence known at the historical event. Senator Max Baucus led the delegation on horseback alongside Governor Steve Bullock. Congressman Steve Daines was also on hand as the newest representative to Congress. The tradition of Montanans riding horseback in the parade started in 2001 for the inauguration of President George W. Bush. We will have much more from today's ceremony coming up at 10.
While most schools and offices are deserted today, the University of Great Falls is at the center of a celebration all about diversity and service.
KRTV's Claire Anderson attends the annual Martin Luther King Jr. Day event at UGF.
As the Liberty Bells rang over the University of Great Falls campus Monday, more than 200 people attended the annual service celebrating Martin Luther King Jr.'s life.
We had so many great speakers, and our students did extremely well talking about Martin Luther King's role in their lives and the way they look at the world, the way they see themselves.
UGF has been holding the celebration for over a decade and have found a strong connection between their founders and Martin Luther King's dream.
The heritage of the University of Great Falls, coming through the Sisters of Providence, shares so much of Dr. King's commitment to advocate for the vulnerable.
As a local gospel choir and speakers took to the stage, it was the students' personal stories of how Martin Luther King's ideals have affected their lives that caught the audience's attention.
Being African American, coming from a city like Philadelphia where there's all types of violence, then coming here where you get a sense of community, unified, it means a lot.
UGF student Carlos shared a story of his Hispanic grandfather and father who were regularly discriminated against because of their race.
Them having to tell me that any kind of racial discrimination is just part of life, and it just comes with the territory.
But he's seen change in his generation.
So is it getting better? In retrospect, with my grandfather, my father, yeah, I think it's definitely getting better. And I think that as the generations pass, it's going to get even better.
The hope for today's event was to encourage community members to get involved and to make a better society for everyone.
Today, we have a responsibility to create a legacy for the future where we show respect for the dignity of every person, no matter what their color, their religion, their creed.
In Great Falls, Claire Anderson, MTN News.
Right. Well, reducing the dropout rate has become a major focus for every school district in Montana.
Many have been successful in their efforts, but Great Falls is a ways behind. According to the Office of Public Instruction, Montana's dropout rate has dipped to 4.1%. Missoula stands out for having the lowest dropout rates. CMR comes in 5th of the 14 AA schools.
But just across the river, Great Falls High has the highest dropout rate of all AA schools with a 7% dropout rate. KRTV's Jen Fenter takes a look at how a change in culture could make the difference.
We want every student to walk across the stage.
Great Falls High School teachers and administrators are determined to invest in students now and hopefully prevent paying later as a community.
Kids who drop out are in great danger of getting in trouble with the law or having other problems. In our prisons right now, roughly 75% of the inmates have dropped out of high school.
There are a variety of extenuating circumstances that factor into a student's success. But for the last 35 years, district staff have made a push to help American Indian students navigate the school system and get across the stage.
It has been a big effort, and I will say that it is paying off. I think the last graduation rate I just looked at was 70% or 68% for Native students in Great Falls, and that's huge because it was 52% the year before.
Teachers and administrators are working hard to create a sense of connection within their schools, hoping to make each student feel as they belong.
We want people to learn to see diversity as a strength instead of a weakness.
And with the help of the business community, a value has been placed on a high school diploma.
Not too long ago, you could get a decent paying job in the city without a high school diploma. That's not necessarily true today.
Gregoire says it won't be an overnight fix, but making the education system more flexible to students and their home lives will lead to better attendance and more opportunities to learn.
Our kids can catch up very quickly. There is nothing wrong with their ability to learn.
She says one day every student will walk across the stage and Great Falls High will become the best AA school in the state, and we can hold her to it. In Great Falls, Jen Fenter, MTN News.
Great Falls High has implemented tiered math and literacy courses to cater to students' individual needs.
Gregoire hopes this structure will encourage student growth and show them they can graduate.
Well, it's sheep shearing season at the Cornell Ranch in Loma.
KRTV's Simone D'Alba visited the ranch for a first-hand look at what it takes to become a professional shearer.
It takes grit, muscle, and some finesse. Shearing sheep isn't just hard work, it's an art.
It's a pattern, basically. We want to get the belly off and the top knot because that's different from that wool. You know, you have to separate them. It's a long ways around a sheep when you start. It's learning how to work it and not get beat up at the same time, you know.
For Bo Collins, shearing sheep is part of his lineage. A third-generation shearer, this is a skill that comes naturally.
Well, my dad was in it and my grandfather. I kind of got snuck into it, I guess.
The wool is harvested for a wide variety of uses, some shipped internationally and others used to make clothing for our nation's finest.
Wool is used for all the service uniforms, for all branches of the service. So, you know, wool is getting to be more and more used all over the world.
The wool here at the Cornell Ranch is renowned for its quality, but not everyone appreciates their new haircut.
Some of them kind of feeling sorry for themselves, but we are also, so we get along just fine.
This type of labor is not for the faint of heart. Keeping the business booming depends on hard workers like Keith BRAATEN. He's been shearing for 30 years.
After this many years, I guess you'd have to say it probably gets in your blood.
It's that sense of pride in their profession that ensures CORNELL Ranch distributes some of the finest wool in the country.
Some of this could be going to Canada, could be going to China, some of the highest quality wool.
In Loma, Simone D'Alba, MTN News.
Well, it sounded like Simone wanted to try her hand at that, but maybe not quite the Montana welcome that she was in for today. So we'll keep her just getting introduced to Montana through these cold temperatures.
Yeah.
Very chilly out there. For some, we really warmed up. We had an 11-degree temperature rise in Great Falls within a matter of an hour because